So I'd like to officially welcome everyone to our April general meeting for the Sydney Hills Business Chamber. This session is designed as an overview session of what's been happening in the chamber over the last quarter, and we do run these a couple of times a year leading up to our AGM, which happens as a part of our December Christmas party and AGM, which will do a full update of what's been happening across the year. So this is the first general meeting since our last AGM in December. And I'm just going to share our screen just quickly so we can take you through a couple of the key things that have been happening as a bit of an overview. So to begin with, we just wanted to remind everyone of really what our core purposes are as an organisation. And our mission is to create a supportive and engaging environment to enable businesses in the Hills region to thrive. And we achieve that through some of our key value propositions, which include having the right seats at the right tables to be able to influence decisions that impact businesses across this community, both our members and our non-members, providing access to resources, tools, education and support services through the Chamber network of partners and service providers, as well as government bodies, to businesses across this region, and also creating a community which allows us to facilitate connection, collaboration, and celebrating the success of businesses. There are some recent awards programs that are right in the thick of their process right now, like the Local Business Awards and the Wasabis, and many of our members are participating in that, and we're looking forward to seeing them succeed and hopefully take home some prizes this year. Our vision is to be recognised as the premier business community in the Hills region, and we do that because businesses in the Hills need an independent body that's run and led by local businesses and business leaders that protects them and promotes them and serves their interests across this community. We also enjoy a very close relationship with the Hills Shire Council, which we've just signed another 3-year head agreement as an alliance with them to work in collaboration on key initiatives that are about creating jobs growth and supporting businesses in this community, which we're really excited about as well. So some of the things that we're exploring at the moment is what does it mean to belong, and what do the different types of membership potentially look like for us, and that's something we'll be tackling in the year ahead. Looking at leadership pathways for our members, how you can get more involved and develop yourself as a leader in the business community. And more importantly, how we create some deeper wells of participation instead of trying to create barriers to entry. And we'll talk a little bit about that in today's session. So just a quick overview of who our committee and executive members are, the people who help lead the organisation. These are all provided as volunteers. So myself as chairperson, Rebecca Swanson is our deputy chair, Joanne Brooker is our treasurer, and Dave Kashan is our secretary public officer. Lee Morgan heads up our marketing portfolio. Phil Patelis, our systems portfolio, and both are on our call today. John Jury heads up our My Community, and David Ferris is our project officer who's leading the charge in looking at our member experience and how we continue to improve that. I would encourage all of our members and the business community to try and reach out to our committee members to get to know them better and also to get more involved in the Chamber and its activities this year. So a little bit of an overview of what we're trying to build as an organisation and as a community. It's a little diagram that we've put together which explains that within this region there are 30,000 businesses and growing who do business here in the Hills. There's both businesses who physically are here in the Hills as well as businesses who work in the Hills but may not physically have a presence here, but their teams work here or they do business with businesses here. And our goal is not necessarily to have 30,000 members of our organisation, it's to serve and engage with all 30,000 businesses as their Chamber of Commerce. And we know that different cohorts of businesses at different life cycle stages will become more and more involved in what we do. And so our goals are just to continue to grow that depth of engagement, which includes both membership and non-membership of our organisation and taking up roles of leadership or getting involved in programs and activities on a regular basis. But that's part of our succession model, and we'd really be happy to take any business through this little model and help them understand where they are in that life cycle and how they can get more involved. So whilst we're building a future for the Chamber, which is 30 years strong, and we're looking to build the next 30 years, we're also focused on all the day-to-day activities. Just like every business post-COVID, we're working on making sure that we're improving our processes, putting in place any short-term fixes, but also considering some of the long-term solutions to the needs of members. And we're supporting businesses right now who need us, as well as identifying the needs of businesses in the future as it continues to change as an economic landscape and the types of business and business people in this region. We're continuously adapting to that. So our teams are working very hard both on what they do today as well as what we need to do in the next couple of years to keep serving well. There are a couple of key things that we've been working on over the last few years and will continue to focus on. The first is around membership growth, not just growth for the sake of numbers, but making sure that the businesses who become part of our community as members really add value to the existing members, and our existing members are able to add value to them. Partnering is a key part of our work that we're doing, and we continue to develop that, including launching an alliances program, which has just begun. And we have now, I believe, 40 partners who work with us, providing us their services and helping to support the programs that we run across the Chamber every day. And the Alliances program is designed to continue to extend that well beyond our members to provide greater benefits, both to our members as well as to theirs. Retaining our members, it's great to have a nice big front door where lots of people come in as members, but if we're not serving them well, they're not feeling like they get value and there's relevance in what we do, then unfortunately we would have a really big back door. And thankfully, we've worked really hard on making sure we continue to increase the value to our members. And so that back door is fairly small, but we want to keep retaining members and making sure that they engage with the diversified benefits that we provide. And if you have questions around how your business can get more involved and understand what's the most relevant activities and features and benefits the Chamber offers, then I would encourage you to connect with your membership manager, Richard Holland, to book a little meeting with him and just take yourself through exactly what you can access today and what may be available also in the future. And most importantly, we're trying to build great foundations by improving our processes and our policies, creating a bigger team of leaders and a really good budgeting process, which then helps us to support the development of better systems and the way that we use data, both now and in the future. We're moving into the 21st century, just like every organisation, and there's a lot of work to be done to build those foundations, but we're doing really well as a team on that. So I might just roll through and touch on our financials. We're very conscious of making sure that we run an organisation that is not only fully transparent, you can at any time as a member request information about how we conduct our business, especially around our finances, but also just making sure that we're good stewards of what we have as our resources, both financially and the people and the assets that we have. And you can see here that our account balance as at the end of February, we're only reflecting up to this quarter, the end of the quarter, was $33,753 with total assets of $109,578, which includes our accounts receivables and debtors of $52,000. The total liabilities at the end of February were $45,612, and the financial year income to date is $212,000, just over $212,000. So our surplus as at February is $32,000. Now we are working pretty hard because it's been a tight year over the last year. So we do expect to probably break even for this year. But the good news is that we're really building some strong income streams and also some strong processes around how we can make sure that we've got all the right finances in place to grow the way that we want to grow over the next year. So thank you to our Treasurer, Joanne, who's not on the call today, but for pulling together this information and working with our bookkeepers, which is Business Depot, and with the Findex team who work as our accountants and support us with the auditors that audit all of our financial statements every year. We are up to date with all of our audit and all of our ATO obligations. If you do have questions, as I mentioned, about our financials, please feel free to touch base with Joanne anytime. You just need to send an email to treasurer@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au, and by all means, she'll be happy to take you through any of our information. Just moving on to an update from our public officer. So Dave is enjoying a holiday currently overseas, which we're very jealous about him doing, but he's been able to confirm for us that our budgeting process is well underway. It's almost finished, and the team have been working very hard on that. The Chamber is obviously forecasting for all of its new and existing activities. All our ASIC and our ATO obligations are up to date, as well as our ISO audit, which was completed in July last year and will happen again in July this year. And our member experience planning is well underway, and there's a little bit of information on that a bit later in this presentation. Dave is also working on our Leadership Pathways program that's in development at the moment, and that's really where we're going to be able to help members along their entire journey with us understand how can they become part of different aspects of leadership within our organisation, so that our own board, who will need a succession plan, we can't all be here forever, have people that can replace them that are able to carry the vision on in the years to come. But also it'll provide opportunities where more members can get involved in lots of different ways across all of our programs to develop their leadership capability. So when Dave's back in May, we'll be reaching out to members and getting you involved in that. A little bit of information on our administrative activities. To run an organisation where we have 45 events a year and a lot of different programs like our My Board programs, takes quite a lot of administration, and so we're really trying to streamline that as much as possible. We've pulled apart a lot of our programs over the last few months just to make sure that we find any of the gaps and issues with any of the processes and really tighten those up. We've got 380 members and that continues to grow, very active programs, and so our admin function is quite broad, and we'll continue to develop that this year, so you'll probably hear more about that in the next few months. I'm going to hand over to Phil Patelis, who's on our session today, and get him just to give us a quick overview of what's happening in the systems and technology space. Phil.
Thank you, Kerry. So just before we jump into that, I thought it's worth mentioning that in March, we had our first Technology Leaders event, which was a very successful event with over 80 participants. And the theme of that was cybersecurity, which is a huge topic in today's age. And so that was a really successful event. It was great to have a turnout that wasn't just technology people, but from all disciplines across the chamber. And I think it's been a very interesting topic. So we're looking forward to running that every year. We've also completed our FY24 budget, and that's been submitted successfully. So the first box here on the slide is around finalising your strategic plan. And so that's really the actual plan for the whole chamber itself, as opposed to a technology plan. And so we're revisiting the mission, the vision, our strategic objectives, and it's important foundationally for the future technology plans. And by aligning technology with the overall organisational plan of the chamber, we'll be able to further optimise our resources and improve the overall performance. This integration also helps to ensure that the technology then used and what we choose in the future, as Kerry was just talking about with optimising our operations, we want to make sure all that matches what we're trying to achieve as an organisation and what business processes need to be put in place, which kind of leads into finalising the Chamber Master business case. We've been reviewing a lot of systems out there on the market and getting a good feel for what's out there and the pricing and the cost. But again, that's all going to tie back to that organisational plan. So once we have that in place, I think it'll become pretty obvious which system will be the right system for the chamber. In the continuous automation improvements, we're continuing. We put some really strong foundations down over the last couple of years and really sorted out our technology and standardised on Microsoft Teams, which has been a great communication platform for the chamber. We continue to automate away mundane tasks where we can, but again, a lot of the more broader admin tasks will come as a result of the review of the Chamber Master replacement. And then lastly, building out our team of IT volunteers. So as we move into this year, continue to move through this year into next year, we're looking to really grow out that team of people, with over 80 people attending that chamber event recently. There's certainly a lot of people in the chamber and a lot of people that are interested in volunteering and doing more around the systems and technology space. And so if anyone wants to contact me on that, systems@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you, Kerry.
Thanks, Phil. And that really also follows on with, I mentioned alliances earlier. We're currently exploring alliance partnerships with several organisations who are focused from a membership point of view on the IT&T sector and as professional networks for that sector. We're not looking to replicate what they already do really well in bringing together people from that sector. What we're looking to do is partner with them so that we can provide some of the things that they don't provide in this region to those businesses, and vice versa, that we're able to extend our offering for some of our IT&T sector businesses through their conferences and all sorts of types of activities that they do. So we'll definitely share some more information about that as it comes to light over the next few months. So I'll move on to our next section. So they're talking about partnerships. So I mentioned before that we have over 40 partnerships. Partnerships are a really critical component of how we run as a chamber. So there are several different ways that people can partner with us. The first is through core services. These are things like our legal and HR and key things that run every single day of the week to help us run just the basic operations of an organisation like ours. And then the second type is partnered programs, and these are specific programs that we run as a chamber that have then organisations who volunteer in exchange for being promoted as a partner to help us drive and run and organise these programs. So a really good example of that is our podcast program and our education space. So over the last couple of months, we've brought on a few new partners who are helping us to run some really important parts of our chamber. You'll see them noted there on the slides. They're all doing lots of different things like my board coordination, part of our board succession program, part of delivering our member success workshops, and also our marketplace program. So we're really excited about having those members on board to help support us. I've mentioned a few new alliances that we're working on, and we're also in the process right now of securing all of our sponsors for all of our key events, our key programs, and at a chamber level. And a few of our sponsors like Malfa and BMW Castle Hill are joining us again this year as sponsors. So if you are considering sponsorship as an opportunity to get your brand out there this year, then we'd certainly like to have a chat with you about that. And Richard Holland is the person to have a chat to about that. So a little bit about member experience. So David Ferris, who was our Deputy Chair last year, has moved into the role of Project Officer, leading the way around member experience. And what we mean by that is there's lots of different ways in which members experience all the different activities that we do as a chamber. And the most important thing that we can focus on is making sure that the experience that a guest or a member has in participation is a really good one, and that our members feel valued and they feel like they're being well looked after. And the best way for us to know whether that's happening is to really pull apart those processes and determine where we think there could be improvements. And this comes from feedback that we get from our wonderful members and guests about how things work, what their experience was through all the different aspects of what we do. And so Dave's taking a lot of that information and putting together some working groups around helping us understand how we can improve our events with things like our new welcoming team, our connectors, as well as processes to be able to capture feedback really well and very simply, and also helping us understand what's the life cycle of a member's experience with us from the day they begin, or even before that, right through to the day that they maybe close their business down and no longer require the services of the chamber or exit as a member for whatever reason. So Dave's leading the way there. You'll see a lot more coming out and developments that'll happen over the next few months. But a couple of changes you'll see immediately in the events that you'll go to now are our new welcome team, where there'll be a couple of people who they're just to welcome our guests and our members to the event, as well as our connectors who are in their orange jackets as before. But this is just about streamlining the process of how people experience us when they first walk in our doors, whether they're a guest for the first time or they're a member who's been there for 10 years and been at every event. So we'd love your feedback on how you're finding the experience of our activities and events, because it will continue to help us improve, and we certainly welcome that. A little bit about member connections. So very broadly, as a bit of an overview, we run 20 member connection events. So that is all about events that generally have somewhere between about 50 to 100. It seems to be averaging around 80 to 100 at the moment. This includes our business after fives, our regular lunches and breakfasts. And the reason why we run these regularly twice a year is so that there's plenty of opportunity for people to be able to connect and build relationships and collaborations together. The Connector program, which is this year sponsored by Malfa Norwest, is a really unique initiative, which is where all of our members who are attending an event a day beforehand get a list of everybody who is intending to attend that upcoming event. It is something that's given only to our members, not to our guests, and it allows you to plan ahead. So I'd really encourage you to find out more about the Connector program. Make sure that you're using it really well, to be very intentional about how you connect with people perhaps you haven't met at upcoming events. There's information on our website about the Connector program, so I'd encourage you to pop onto our events calendar, have a little look at the information about the Connector program, and if you do have questions, just reach out and ask us. One of the things that we did expand over the last few years is our golf days is very popular. We usually have somewhere between about 35 to about 45 people who attend, sometimes more for some of our charity events. These run every quarter. They're sponsored by Castle Hill BMW, and they're just a really great social, relaxed way to build connections over a leisurely social game of golf. There are some 9-hole options for people who are really not feeling like doing 18, but just want to have a bit of a half day on the course. We usually meet for some lunch afterwards, so there's plenty of opportunity to build relationship there, and it's a good way to bring your clients out as well. We have moved our Women in Business events from being big lunches multiple times a year to one large event, which is done for International Women's Day, which we held in March, which was a huge event, which was a great event. But we're also then having progressively through the year a bit of a more organic approach to building relationships with women across our business community. And that's through our coffee catch-ups, which happen bi-monthly, and that begins in May this year. So that's a really simple, small format where you buy your own coffee, we meet regularly at a similar destination, and it's open then to members to just enjoy building connection with each other. And our Chairman's Lunch, which will again happen as a bit of a regional summit, will happen on the 6th of September this year, which we're really looking forward to as well. A little bit of information about some of our industry-based and cohort-specific programs. So in an effort to really start reaching out into key sectors and to build supply chain relationships and information around what's happening in these sectors, we've been running our industry clusters, leadership lunches, and we've been running them for a few years, but we've really redesigned them. And there are 5 lunches this year. We've already had 2 in the last quarter. The first was our sales and marketing leaders event. The second was our IT and T sector for technology, which was around cybersecurity, which Phil mentioned earlier. We've got 3 more coming up. The next one is at the end of May, which is our professional services sector, and then our medical, healthcare, aged care, NDIS sectors, and then building and construction is later in the year in November. These are really great events where we're talking about key issues that are relevant to this particular sector or relevant to all businesses who want to find out what's going on in these sectors, especially if you do business with businesses in this sector. So they sell out very quickly, so we do recommend that you get in quick to book your tickets. What we're finding is that it's about a 50-50 split between members who attend and non-members who attend, and so it's a really great mix and an opportunity there. We've got corporate roundtables that we'll be holding in conjunction with the Hills Shire Council, which is really focused around key issues that affect all businesses in this region. That includes things like attracting jobs and investment to this region, tourism, and a whole swag of other really important topics. So the dates for those will be coming out soon, and then we're encouraging leaders who are within these different sectors to start meeting together in smaller groups, and we'll be launching something a little bit later in the year around that. A very quick overview of our My Community program, which continues to thrive. Our My Enterprise is quite a large group now. That's been growing over the last few years. My Enterprise is for businesses which have between 10 to 50 staff or are of a certain maturity, even if they're slightly smaller than that. And that group is by invitation only. It is, you do need to apply to qualify for that. That's got about 40 businesses in it at the moment and continues to grow each month. They meet monthly. Our My Boards, we have 11 teams which meet twice a month, a bit of a hybrid approach to that. Some are online only, others are 1 week of the month they're online, the other week they're meeting in person, and others are fully in person. And our My Corporate is for businesses which have 50 or more staff, and that's a growing team of about 20. businesses in that space there. So if you're interested in building some deeper relationships with businesses beyond just attending our events, we highly recommend getting involved in the My Community program. There's certainly something for everyone there. And a little bit later this year, on October 11th, we'll be running our Job Pathways Forum, which is an initiative which is in collaboration with several other business chambers across the northwest of Sydney, where we're looking at some of the issues around jobs and filling vacancies, both connecting people who are in the education and recruitment space and businesses to solve some of the problems with getting the right staff, and also just things like work experience, which is practically non-existent in the Hills now. We want to see some solutions to that. So we're driving that initiative a little bit later this year as part of the Wexpo, which will be run on October 11th as well at the same destination. So I've got Lee Morgan on our session today, so I'm going to get her to do a quick overview for us on what's been happening with marketing.
Thanks very much, Kerry. This is my first general meeting for the Chamber, and I'm looking forward to all that we're going to achieve together. The current focus across the marketing portfolio really is around building a platform for member growth and engagement while maintaining our short-term promotional and member communications needed. So a couple of things that we've been working on is how we automate some of our processes. So adding segmentation, automation and templates to the CRM system. We're looking at aligning all marketing stakeholders and streamlining resources and processes so that we can move towards interlinked targets and performance. And these will be tied into growth and member engagement. We need to keep our focus on events marketing. So we need to drive engagement and we need to boost our member numbers that are coming to those events post-COVID. And we're looking at more focus on members' connection through chamber initiatives. So it's really rolling out the communications around all of those aspects. We're working with the websites, events and other portfolios to have more intelligent marketing in place, building that strong partner network, leveraging our social media database and looking at how we leverage social media for new member growth, and our new strategic plan for 2023 being implemented in Q4, and then looking at how that then rolls out into our FY24 plans.
Fantastic. So one of the things that Lee mentioned there is, really looking at how we can automate and how we can get great consistency around our marketing. It's always a bit of a running battle because there's so much communication, both from a marketing point of view as well as internal communications that has to happen just to keep everyone informed. And we're always fighting against things like spam filters and the amount of information going into people's inboxes. So the very first thing I would say is if you aren't getting regular communications from us as a chamber and you are a member or you've signed on to our mail list, even if you're not a member today, if it's not coming through, we just ask you to check your spam folders and make sure that you've whitelisted us so that we definitely get to you. And if we're still not getting anything, then please get in touch with us. Just contact us at support@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au and let us know so that we can check that you're definitely on our mail list and so you're not missing out on any of the communications, because we're definitely putting it out. You should be getting at least one or two things in your inbox a week to keep you up to date and informed about what's going on in the chamber. So just a quick overview of some of the key things that are happening across our member engagement. One of the key changes which Richard has implemented over the last 3 or 4 months has been the first 90-day communication plan. And so this is where he's booking sessions with both new members as well as renewing members to make sure that we are regularly touching base with you to take you across all the different things that you should be involved in over that first 90 days process, to make sure that we're getting you really embedded into the life of the chamber, that you're really accessing all of the benefits and activities that you should be getting involved in. But we're doing that in a bit of a drip-fed way. And we're going to overlay that with some information coming through our marketing system soon as well. And the reason for that is that first information session is great. It gives you a lot of information. That first onboarding session you do is great, but there's a lot of information. And what we find is that you're only going to retain maybe, 10% of all the information you get in that first onboarding and information session. And that means that members get busy and then they don't connect with things which are really important for them to get the most out of their membership. So that check-in process during the 90 days is critical to make sure that you really become part of the life of the chamber as a member. And also as a renewing member, We're doing that with you as well because we want to make sure if you've been with us for a while that you're aware of all the new things that you can access and things maybe you haven't tapped into for a while. So you can, as an existing member at any time, reach out and do a post onboarding session, if you like, with Richard to make sure that you're leveraging all of your benefits and you're tapping into all the activities that are available to you. So don't wait to be contacted, give us a call and we're happy to book that in and make sure that you're getting all of that. The member in focus process is something which we introduced last year. That is an opportunity to become a member in focus, which is an 8-week program. There's information on our website about it, but it allows you to pick an event during the year where you're going to be the member highlighted. We do a bit of a Q&A with you. You're up in lights. There's lots of information and activities that happen over the 8-week period of that program, but it's really about helping you to be able to talk about your business and get some visibility. And if you want to find out more about that, again, have a chat to Richard, and he and Nathan Williams are taking our members through that program. Education. So we've got some new things happening in education. One of the first things, which is really exciting, which we're loving seeing the content come out of, is our Business Minds podcast, which we launched late last year. There's about 12 episodes now. That's usually one each week. There's some really great interviews, really interesting content. So if you haven't found the podcast yet, jump onto our website, check out the Business Minds podcast, and it's on several channels, things like Spotify and other vehicles. But if you want to find out a little bit more about that, you can reach out to us anytime and we'll connect you up. But it's a great program and it's an opportunity for us to find out more about our members and really important topics that anybody would be interested in. So we're working currently on the strategy around our education marketplace, and that's being revamped at the moment and will come out in early new financial year. And then I mentioned our new member inductions, which is around our member success programs. And there's workshops that happen in that first 90 days that we encourage all members to attend. And that helps you to learn, how do I get the most out of connecting and networking as a member of the chamber. So if you've missed your slot for whatever reason over the last year, you can always come back and do that member success program with us as well. It's a one workshop. There's a couple of different options. There's some evening sessions as well as some daytime sessions to help people be able to attend. Just a quick overview of member benefits. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we're working on, including some bonus member benefits, improvements to our member directory, and the social media package. If you haven't accessed our social media package yet, you're missing out. This is a great opportunity. If you jump onto our website, you can find all the information you need to know about how to access that. But as Lee mentioned, we've got a really large database that we have been putting our posts and our information in front of over the last couple of years, that are part of our social media account. So you can leverage that targeted audience yourself by tapping into our social media package. So if you'd like to know more about that, you can contact us. Again, use the support at sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au. Just a really quick snapshot. I'm not going to linger on this. This is something you can come back to and pause the video on at any time. It really just gives you a one-page overview of some of the key things we've already done just in the last couple of months. We're averaging between 6 to 10 new members a month. We have 382. It's probably gone up since I've done this slide. Active members. We've run a whole bunch of business connection events, golf days and workshops, and you can see there's lots of new stuff happening. So if you want to take a moment to pause the video and just have a look at that for yourself, then please do. But if you have questions about any of the items that are mentioned here, feel free to reach out to me or any of our team. I just want to touch on one or two things before we finish up. The first is around our advocacy. So one of the key parts of what we are as a Chamber of Commerce is we are an advocacy platform for businesses in this region. And the way that we do that is we will quite often have member interviews and meetings with members about issues that they have. And they're often centred around some form of government decision that's been made or has been made that impacts them, whether that's at a local level with the local council or at a state or a federal level. And we're always interested in hearing from members. So if there is something that you would like assistance on being able to advocate for, then all you have to do is reach out to us, book a meeting, and we're happy to have a conversation with you. But we work very closely with Business New South Wales, and Business New South Wales is connected with both federal and state bodies around big issues that affect all businesses. And you'll see that they recently, with the state election, had some key policies that they were pushing on behalf of business, which we fed information into from our members. We also participate in the CAUS, which is the Chamber Alliance of Western Sydney. There's information about CAUS on our website, as well as Business New South Wales. And if you want to find out more about how we're working in collaboration with these regional bodies and state bodies, more than happy to explain our relationships with them. But essentially what it means is we deliberately work with them on a regular basis to make sure that the issues of businesses across our region are being represented more broadly and collaboratively with them to help push those issues forward. We will be starting to circulate information that's coming through Business New South Wales this year around some key issues around industrial relations, which a lot of our members are not aware of. So look at on our blog, which is where you'll find that information. There's two places we share it currently, their blog, as well as our LinkedIn group. So if you're not part of the LinkedIn group, make sure you jump on and become a part of it, because we share any regular updates about these kinds of things there. And then one of the things which we will be looking at as a part of our systems and marketing, as well as our member experience portfolios, is around our survey processes. One of the surveys that will be coming out very shortly, in fact, I think it's coming out next week, is the PSI, which the local council runs, and we're encouraging all members and businesses in the region to participate in it. This is the Sentiment Index survey that happens annually. It helps us to get a bit of a temperature on what's going on in business. And that information is used in decision making, both at a local and a state government level. So it is important that as many businesses as possible in our region do participate and complete that survey. It usually takes about 10 minutes to complete, and we'll be sending out links to that very shortly. Lastly, I just want to acknowledge all of our board members who make a huge sacrifice of time from their own business to be able to help run the chamber and put a massive amount of work into supporting businesses in this region. And also a big thanks to all of our support partners and sponsors who you'll see on this last slide, who basically give their time, their intellectual property, their resources, and their money to help support what we do as an operation. And we are 100% not-for-profit organisation where we're run, led, and administered by other businesses who provide their time on a volunteer basis to us. So we're really thankful for that. I'd encourage you to reach out and also support these businesses and find out more about them. And what we're going to do now is we're going to wrap this up. We don't have anybody on this session who has submitted any questions to us, so we're going to officially close our general meeting for now. But if you do have any questions at all that you would like to submit to us, then please feel free to do so. All you need to do is send us through an email to support@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au, and we're more than happy to arrange to answer those questions for you. But I would thank you for taking the time to watch today's session, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our events in the next month or two.